Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. In this class, we are going to focus on risk and uncertainty. So before we begin discussing takaful into depth, we are going first to understand risk. So not all kinds of risk are similar. We have to differentiate between kinds of risk. Why? Because in takaful, not all of these risks can be, we say it's a takafulable risk. So not all of these risks can be taken into account. So in today's class, first, we are going to focus on risks. We're going to classify risks, understand what kind of risks can be insured, and then so this class will be two parts. In the first part, I will solely be focusing on risk. In the second part, however, we will be focusing on takafulable risks. What kind of risks shall be taken into consideration from the perspective of takaful? So let's begin. So as you can see, first we will discuss risk, we will define risk, then we will move to the classifications of risk, and then we will focus on uncertainty. So what does it mean that something is uncertain? How uncertain it is? Is there a degrees of uncertainty? And then we will discuss on risk management process. So when there is uncertainty, how can we take care of risks? Is there something to be done to protect ourselves or to avoid the risk or to transfer it? So we will see these ways in which we can tackle different kinds of risks. Then in the second part, we will be focusing on the concept of risk from a Sharia perspective. So what's the Sharia stand, the Islamic law stand on the risk issue? And then we will be focusing on the role of takaful in the economy and the Muslim world as well. And then we will start focusing on the takaful industry. So we can understand here that the risk itself is one major part of understanding takaful. So before we understand deeper things in takaful, one must understand what risks can be taken into consideration. So let's begin. So as you can see here, there is some like intercorrelation between chance, loss, perils. We sometimes use the word peril. There is danger, there is threats. So in takaful or in risk, if you want to understand risk, you may see the differences between these concepts. For example, a potential that chosen action or activity, including the choice of inaction, meaning not doing anything. So sometimes not doing anything is also a way of, like taking consideration to avoid kind of risks. So an undesirable will lead to a loss, an undesirable outcome. So again, what is risk? It's a potential that a chosen action or activity, so if you do something which can be an action or it can be an activity, for example, doing trade at night or doing trade on international levels, will lead to a loss. So I'm not sure that if you trade at night or trade internationally, you're gonna be doing well all the time. So it might lead to a loss. Let's view another definition. Uncertainty of an outcome. Very simple. It's uncertainty, so we're not certain about the outcome. Number 3, outcome may have undesirable effect or possibility of loss. For example, while we do trade, there is always a possibility that we're going to lose our capital. So, risk is uncertainty about the future. So I am not sure about the future. Possibility or uncertainty of loss. If a loss is certain to occur, it may be planned for in advance. So if you know some things might happen in the future, the least you can do is taking some steps, taking into consideration how you can escape the bad situation. For example, can you get some help? Uh, can you transfer some of the obligations to someone else, etc.? So we will see the ways into we manage risk. So, if a loss is certain to occur, it may be planned for in advance and treated as a definite or known expense. For example, taking motor takaful or family takaful protection. So, if you know that some loss might happen, but maybe you're not certain about the exact date, it may be planned for, so you may take into consideration some things. And, for example, buy a takaful plan to protect yourself.